Decoding emotional maturity. I believe men and women need to hear this. So we're going to dive into this conversation today. I think we've entered a new age in romantic relationships because now we are no longer in an environment where survival is the primary reason to be in a romantic relationship, particularly for women from that place of needing a provider, protector from a man. Thankfully, women are not in that position. And I think relationships from a different type of providing, and I'm talking about providing emotional maturity, I'm talking about providing relationship skills. So two people can actually enjoy what I affectionately call a juicy, delicious, healthy, happy relationship. And today I'm going to give you 5 things to consider, particularly if you're a woman, what you should look for from a man. But quite frankly, as I'm talking about this for men, ladies, I'm inviting you to embody this as well. And for the men listening, I want you to pay attention to the women that embody this as well. Because what is emotional maturity? What are relationship skills? I think some of those things include the capacity that your actions consistently match your words, that you have victor consciousness, not victim consciousness. And quite frankly, here in the United States, we are suckling on the nipple of victim consciousness. In addition, that we have a sense of learning how to fight fair in relationship. And what I mean to say by fighting fair, I'm really talking about the capacity to have good conflict resolution skills, because the reality is relationships are going to have friction, they're going to have challenges. And if you have weak emotional maturity and poor relationship skills, there's a good chance that you have weak conflict resolution skills. So I call that fighting fair. In addition is to have some level of empathy. Now, empathy isn't just about caring about someone else's feelings. Empathy is actually caring about your own feelings from a premise of self-love. If you haven't read my book, What the Heck is Self-Love Anyway? A Journey of Personal Development, Self-Help, Spiritual Work, highly recommend checking it out. There's a link below to get a copy of my book. Why I'm bringing this up? If you want to operate as a sovereign being in relationship, that self-love is really all about our self-worth, our self-esteem, our self-confidence, our self-reliance, our self-discipline. But more importantly, it's knowing how to nurture the emotional 6-year-old inside of us. And that's partly what empathy is about. But more lastly, is about being transparent in relationship. If something is material to another human being, then speaking up about it, or at least being protective of the other person. And I'm speaking to the men right here, right now, because it's easy for you guys to say, oh, I want a relationship, I want a relationship, I want a relationship, then have physical intimacy with a woman, and then say, all of a sudden, you shift your mind. Being protective of another human being is being protective of them from you, particularly if you're in it for the short run, if you have a short-term mating strategy. Now, ladies, if you're listening to this, I want you to pay attention to this, because men oftentimes have a short-term mating strategy. They are hyper-focused on the physical connection, possibly leading to some level of emotional connection. And they're most likely not emotionally grown up. So I shared with you, I'm going to give you 5 things to consider, and I've got to read from my notes, which are right here. So bear with me as I look down. But whether a man or woman, they stop confusing self-awareness with emotional maturity. I repeat that. They stop confusing self-awareness with emotional maturity. Knowing your patterns isn't enough. Knowing your fears, your insecurities, your negative beliefs, your doubts, that sort of thing, how your actions affect others. That's great that you have a level of emotional awareness around that. But it's not enough. Mature men know how to regulate their emotions. Mature women know how to regulate their emotions. They know how to communicate their needs, wants, and desires that can be seen and heard and understood by another person. And they choose aligned action instead of hiding behind labels or even trauma talk. You know, if you've watched social media for a while now, you know that there's plethora of conversations centered around trauma talk, centered around understanding your wounds, your traumas, that sort of thing. And just because you can talk about it, even if you can label it, even if you say, oh my God, I'm being triggered, emotional maturity is not just knowing about it, it's about taking action for oneself. It's about growing past your negative patterns, your limiting beliefs. It's about understanding your attachment style. And if you're not familiar with attachment style, I highly recommend reading the book. Where is it? Wired for Love by Dr. Stan Tatkin. Wired for Love by Dr. Stan Tatkin. That's emotional maturity, is understanding it and then working on your attachment style so you don't necessarily bring someone into your life from an unhealed place. So just having the self-awareness is only one part of the puzzle. It's actually doing something about it that demonstrates emotional maturity. Number 2, you no longer treat discomfort as danger. You no longer treat discomfort as danger. Let me explain why. Emotionally mature people don't run, shut down, ghost, or distract themselves when things get real. I'm going to repeat that, and I'm reading again. Emotionally mature people don't run. They don't shut down. They don't ghost. They don't distract themselves with the next swipe when things get real. They stay present long enough to work through the stuff in the moment. One of the things the Gottmans talk about, and if you're not familiar with the work of the Gottmans, I highly recommend reading the book 8 Dates by Drs. John and Julie Gottman. But one of the things they talk about in relationship is the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse: defensiveness, stonewalling, criticism, and contempt. I'm going to repeat that: defensiveness, stonewalling, criticism, and contempt. Stonewalling, emotional grown-ups, they don't stonewall, they don't delay. Now, certainly we all need time to process our emotion and feelings. That's okay. But you don't abandon the other person in that to regulate your own emotions. An emotionally mature person knows how to do that in a relatively fair amount of time. You don't need days, weeks, or months processing your feelings. An emotionally grown-up person regulates their emotions and feelings. As I said before, they operate from a place of transparency with their partner because that's what an emotionally grown-up person does. And by the way, if you're going to be a provider protector to one another, you have to provide and protect from yourself and be able to provide from yourself, if that makes any sense to you. Number 3, they take responsibility without collapsing into shame. Mature men and women own their impact, repair when needed, and course correct. Let me repeat that. Mature men and women own their impact. They repair when needed, and they course correct instead of defending, deflecting, and blaming. Let me repeat that. Instead of defending, deflecting, or blaming, they seek partnership, not performance. I want you to think about that. People that have a long-term mating strategy, they are genuinely seeking a life partner. Those are in it for the short run. Those that have a short-term mating strategy, all they care about is getting their next dopamine hit, their next fix. You know how you know this? Particularly if you're a woman watching this? This is where love bombers start to surface like nobody's business. They will tell you how wonderful you feel to them. But are they really checking in with your feelings? Are they really trying to understand who you are from the inside out? That's what an emotionally mature person does. That's what an emotional grown-up does. They take responsibility without collapsing to shame. And mature people, they know their impact and they repair when needed. And they course correct, as I said before. Now, here's the thing about emotionally mature people. They're not trying to impress somebody into liking them. Oh my God, we are suckling on the nipple of trying to impress people and certainly needing validation. They show up as friends first. They build trust slowly and choose intimacy after alignment, not before. And when I'm talking about intimacy, I'm talking about the penis going inside the vagina intimacy. Building trust. You know how you build trust? You open your heart. You talk about your past. You share your past relationships so a person gets an understanding of how you got to where you're at today. You talk about where you're at today. your fears, your insecurities, your doubts, your negative patterns, your limiting beliefs. You have these grown-up conversations. And most importantly, you also talk about the future you seek. None of this, oh, well, let's just take it slow. Let's keep it casual. I'm not looking for anything serious. That's bullshit. Hey, if you want a hookup, if you want a friends with benefits, if you want a casual relationship, there's a website for that. It's called Field, F-L-E-E-D. Go there. That's the hookup site. But if you want a genuine, serious relationship, and by the way, ladies, this should be the first question you ask a guy. That's emotional maturity, talking about. In fact, I invite you to, by the way, ladies, if you're watching this, I invite you to ask men, describe what commitment looks like for you. Describe the type of relationship you look for. And when I say describe, have them describe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. I could have done it like Godfather. Have them describe what it looks like on a weekly basis, a monthly basis, and a yearly basis. How would you interact with one another? How would you blend lives? And certainly seeking alignments, trying to get a sense of a person's values. By the way, I know I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. I'm rather excited about this. But building trust means opening up to another human being, opening up from an emotional side. If you haven't read two books, these are thick books, by the way. First one, Emotional Intimacy by Robert Masters. I highly recommend reading this book. By the way, all the books I recommend are listed below. Also, The Language of Emotions. If you want to have a grown-up conversation with someone, maybe we human beings need to learn our emotions, learn what we're feeling. And by the way, for the ladies watching this, I know you guys have a propensity to vomit your emotions, but that doesn't mean it's coming across in a way that can be seen, heard, and understood. I'm inviting you to identify what you're feeling, but more importantly, express it in a way that can be seen, heard, and understood. And if you need help with that, folks, where's my book? Here's the book. This needs to be on your nightstand, Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg. By the way, it should have been titled Compassionate Communication. See, when we are emotionally grown-ups, we're able to speak from our heart, from a calm, collective place, understanding what our needs are. And believe me, we can screw up over and over and over again. But the truth is, when you screw up and two emotionally grown-up people together, they figure it out. And when I say we screw up, it's like, hey, look, this isn't easy stuff. We weren't taught this stuff growing up because we've been indoctrinated to believe that, by the way, if you're like me, a tail end baby boomer, I was taught to go to college, get a job, meet someone, get married, buy a house, start a family. That was the blueprint that I was taught. My job was solely to be the provider, protector. By the way, we are in a new age of romantic love. As I said before, it isn't about the provider protector. It's about being an emotional grown-up. And lastly, number 5, they understand that leadership is emotional, not logistics. Men and women that think leading means planning dates. Real leadership is offering safety, transparency, consistency, and the courage to speak the truth when it's uncomfortable. I've got to repeat that one. Leadership is emotional, not logistical. Leading means, it doesn't just mean planning and paying for dates. It means real leadership is offering safety, transparency, consistency, and the courage to speak your truth when things get uncomfortable. That's what emotional maturity is about, just giving you the Cliff Note version of it. Have you found yourself in a circumstance where you've been spinning your head going, where's this relationship going? Have you found yourself with somebody who's been breadcrumbing you? Have you found yourself, hey, listen, gaslighting you, criticizing you, being defensive, stonewalling? That's not emotional maturity. Emotional maturity requires rolling up one's sleeves to do the difficult work of investigating oneself from an examined life, In fact, if you need help with that, hey, there's links below. Schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. That's my area of expertise anyway, to teach discernment You know, sadly, we do such a poor job in the area of discernment. I'm here to encourage everyone to roll up their sleeves, because if you want to attract a juicy, delicious, healthy, happy relationship, secure relationship, yeah, I'm inviting you all to be a mirror of what you want. And when you have clarity on your values, when you have a sense of your lifestyle, and you have that emotional maturity, you become an electromagnet for what you desire. Is this sinking in? Is this resonating with you? If it is, please let me know. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Post a comment below. I do my best to read them all in the first 24 hours. As always, if you find value in my videos, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos. And if you want to connect with me directly, hey, there's links below. Schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. There's links to join my group called Midlife Love Mastery. You can get the books I recommend listed below. And also, don't forget to get my dating vows. These are some important conversations you have with somebody before you ever give your heart to someone. All links below. All right, those who know my live format know it's time for Q&A. If you have a question, hey, there's a little chat box in the corner. Write the word question, then post the question thereafter. Or you can purchase a super sticker, super chat. There's a little $ in the chat box. All of the monies from the super sticker, super chat goes to a scholarship fund in the name of my son, Connor Asley. Here's a picture of him right there with his brother, Colin. He's my son who passed away over 7 years ago. And I can't believe 7 years ago. In his honor, we donate to causes like the Hoffman Process, Insight Institute, and scholarships to coaching as well. We'd love to generate $50 today, so I'd appreciate it. 10 of you just donated $5. We'd get to that goal. All right. Oh, if anyone wants to join the Love Seat, I just post a link right now. You can join me live. We can have a conversation. Okie doke. Okay. Let's see. Maxine wants to know any update on the book you're publishing. Well, it's a 25-chapter book. We're on chapter 12. It needs a bunch of editing. I hope to get it done in the next first quarter of 2026. So that gives you a little sign of where we're at, Maxine. But thank you for asking. I really appreciate it. Melanie says, I want to scare away all of this, but I don't want to scare him away. Oh, wait. I want all of this, but I don't want to scare him away. LOL. By the way, if it's sincere and from the heart, Melanie, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. Got it? If it's sincere and from the heart, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. Pamela is in the house. Question. If he pulls away during the talking phase 3 weeks in, what do I do? He acknowledged he wasn't being a good friend to me in a brief call, sent a good night text, then nothing for 4 days. All right, so you built up a cyber pen pal, okay? Now you got to recognize that you haven't most likely built the deep roots of trust through social activities, hobbies, mutual interests, spending time with family and friends, traveling together, teamwork, building skills, both in your personal and your professional life. What you have, if you've only been talking on the phone 3 weeks, is a cyber pen pal, okay? Now, what happens is life can get in the way, and also fear can get in the way. You see, real love is built through circumstances and the doing of things together. Yes, you can build something known as artificial intimacy, a false sense of attraction. That's what you're most likely have experienced. And the fact that he says he's not a good friend, it's just his fear has popped up and there hasn't been enough trust between the two of you to have an honest conversation about whatever's coming up for him. Also, since this is a cyber connection, he might be talking to several people at the same time. And because of that, because he may be talking to several other people, there hasn't been enough trust built between the two of you. And that's my suspicion in this particular case, Pamela. So okay, so let me know what you thought about that. Post a comment. I'd like to hear what you had to say. Angela has jumped in. Thank you, Angela. Many women wait on God for a man. Do you think it's a good idea to do that? My father, by the way, my heritage is Mediterranean. My father He used to say, you can put your faith in Allah, but don't forget to tie up your camel. So putting yourself on a dating app, God wants you to do that. He didn't invent dating apps for you not to use them. He didn't invent opportunities to connect for you not to use them. If God created everything in our universe, then take advantage of everything God has given you to meet and connect with people. And in the meantime, God will find a way to put two people together. I firmly believe that. But don't sit and wait in the corner. God wants everybody to do some level of aligned, inspired action. Let me repeat that. God wants everyone to do aligned and inspired action. Okay? Great question. Thanks so much for that. I really appreciate it. Annika's in the house. We haven't seen you in a while, sweetheart. Good to see you. Question. What can I say to a guy that wants to spend so much time talking on the app and not meeting up without being rude? I find that this happens a lot. You know, I'm not the expert at what this particular case. And what I mean to say is, you know, you could probably go to ChatGPT and ask that one. But here's what I would do. I said, I really appreciated our exchange via text message. Since I'm looking for a serious relationship, I'd like to move this to a telephone call. Are you comfortable with having a telephone call? And if you aren't, that's okay. I'm going to move on. Just be that direct. Why do we have to be so afraid to speaking our truth with someone? Be direct. That's all you need to do. If it's sincere and from the heart, Annika, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. Just say, hey, look, I appreciate this conversation. Can we move it to a telephone call? If they don't feel, by the way, I understand why we might need an exchange or two or three to build a little bit of rapport, to build a little bit of trust. It's important to build rapport and trust. Most people are bad at it. Where's that book? Oh, can't find it. Dale Carnegie, How to Win and Influence Friends. I think it's important to learn how to build friendships with somebody. Where is that? Oh, well, it's here somewhere. Anyways, did you get my point? I hope you did. All right. Angela wants to point out, good point. Thank you so much. Pamela's back. Thank you. I agree. Not sure he's talking with others, but I do think something came up like fear. We are organizing a date to meet when he disappeared. You know, a lot of people, listen, online dating is a blessing and a curse, okay? It's a blessing and a curse. The blessing is it creates opportunities to meet people we wouldn't otherwise meet in our daily lives. The curse is people can hide behind their screens. It's kind of what social media is all about, okay? But at the same time, I have a rule. It's called 3, 2, 1, 3. No more than 3 email or text exchanges. Now, when I say is, you know, like if you had a little exchange and then you don't speak and then have another little exchange and don't speak, you know, I mean, like a day go by and another. No more than 3 exchanges, okay, should lead to 1 or 2 telephone calls. Okay, maybe a FaceTime and a telephone call should lead to 1 date, and it shouldn't take more than 3 weeks. All of the 3 weeks, just like what was it, Pamela? She's speaking for 3 weeks. Hey, 3 weeks. If you don't meet, move on to the next one. That's my invitation for everybody. Hey, I want to thank Annika for the $5 super sticker. Thank you for the love. We appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. All right. Angela says, if a man isn't busy, he is just giving excuses to avoid a relationship. You know, first off, you know, you got to recognize that meeting a total stranger, I don't care if you're a man or woman, if you're meeting someone from a dating app and they're a total stranger, you know, we don't, how can we trust someone we don't know yet? Okay. So at first, and it depends on logistics, depends on how close two people live together. But for the most part, until some rapport has been built, some trust has been built, our life takes precedence. Our children, our professional life, our friends, our physical well-being, that all takes precedence until we've built some trust and rapport with someone. So, but here's the thing, and there's a hurdle that you have to jump through, even in the early stage of dating, is to once you've been together a few times, you have to build trust there. We humans are poor at building trust. This is why I highly recommend, before the penis ever goes inside the vagina, to read the book 8 Dates by Doctors John and Julie Gottman. I highly recommend it. All right. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Melanie wants to point out, I am definitely seeking a partnership. Way to go. By the way, if anyone wants to join the love seat, I'm going to post a link one more time right there. All right. Hey, Pamela just gave us a $20 super sticker. Thank you for the love. We appreciate you, Pamela. That was very sweet. Thanks so much. All right. Hey, if you have a question, there's a little chat box in the corner. Write the word question and then post the question there after. Or you can purchase a super sticker, super chat, like two kind people, Pamela and Annika, have. All the monies from the super sticker, super chat goes to a scholarship fund. So join me live. Hit the link. Let's have a conversation. This might be fun. I don't know where we can take it, but we can have some fun. All right, we're going to give it another 30 seconds to see if someone posts a question. Otherwise, we're going to be wrapping up a little bit early tonight. I'd like to go for 30 minutes. All right, going once. Going twice. Come on. Someone post a comment. I'd love to hear what you have to say. All right, third time's the charm. Hey, folks, thanks so much for allowing me to share Decoding Emotional Maturity. I think we all need to hear some perspective around focused on emotional maturity and starting off from that premise, not our standard premise of chemistry equals relationship success and physical connection equals relationship success. If you want to establish emotional maturity, it means asking those deeper, tougher questions from the very get-go, just to see if you're with somebody, an emotional grown-up. And guess what? Emotionally grown-up people have no problem asking or answering deeper, more thought-provoking questions. Because if it's from the heart, as I said before, and it's sincere, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. Is this sinking in? Is this resonating with you? Please let me know. Angela does want to point out, it is true that men don't care about what job a woman has and only care about how a woman makes them feel. Well, I don't think that's true for all men. I think some men might, to the extent care, it may or may not affect them significantly, but it depends. If somebody has a job where they're unavailable, that might be a deal breaker for them. But more importantly, you're absolutely right. Men choose partners just like women choose partners based on how they feel. And more importantly, the people that go the distance are the ones where two people are genuinely dear friends with one another. Those are the relationships that seem to go the distance. It's about building that emotional safety with one another by being present, by being consistent, by being transparent, by being vulnerable, by being authentic. That is how you build trust with another human being. And by the way, as I said before, it's building trust through social activities, hobbies, mutual interests, spending time with family and friends, traveling together, teamwork, building skills both in your personal and your professional life. And yes, intimacy, both physical and emotional intimacy. You know, we all need that intellectual chemistry, emotional chemistry, physical chemistry, and also those relationships that really seem to shine also have spiritual chemistry as well. All right. Melanie wants to say, I appreciate your videos. Angela says the same. Thanks so much. Oh, looks like we got another question that popped in. Oh, well, I guess we'll answer it before we wrap up. Question. I've been single for a long time, over 4 years. Is this a red flag for men? I'm looking for a serious relationship and partnership. I think some people might judge that as being a long time. I think in today's environment, the average person might have, but the average person probably by the time they hit 45 or 50 years old, most likely have had 1, 2, 3, or 4 or 5 significant relationships, and there might be a time span in between where a significant relationship ended in 2020 and their next relationship didn't happen until 2024, 4 years later. So I don't think men care too much. If they think, listen, if they value you, if there's a connection there, I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference. And even for those women or men who have been never married, hey, today, that might be they're the smarter ones, that they didn't fall into the trap. I mean, when you think about the average life, 90% of people get once, and 1 out of 2 of them get divorced, and then second or third marriages end at a higher rate. So I wouldn't see that as much of an issue. I certainly wouldn't make it I wouldn't be so concerned. And anyone who has an issue that has been, you've been single for 4 years, if they have an issue, trust me, you're dodging a bullet with that person, because they probably got more hangups than hang up. All right, Annika, I hope that helped. Thanks so much for that one. Oh, and you said thank you. You're very welcome. By the way, Deb wants to point out, I really like that friend zone blog that you wrote the other day. Hey, since you mentioned it, why not pull it up and read it for everybody? How does that sound? Okay, since you brought it up. Second. Bear with me a second. All right. Let me read this out loud for everybody since Deb brought it up, okay? Friendship isn't the friend zone. It's foreplay for the soul. Let's get something straight. When I talk about friendship being the foundation of a great relationship, I'm not talking about the friend zone. The friend zone means I don't want to sleep with you. The friend zone means I don't desire you. The friend zone means there's no spark. What I'm talking about is the exact opposite. I'm talking about the kind of friendship that fuels attraction, not kills it. The kind where 2 people laugh, play, tease, flirt, open their hearts, and yes, still feel the slow burn under the surface. Here's the truth most people don't want to admit. The male sex drive usually leads the way. Men, and women too, often mistake their desire for connection, their desire for connection, their lust for compatibility, their physical hunger as emotional intimacy. It gives a false illusion of friendship because the body is lit up even though the heart is asleep. This is why it might be helpful to teach how to build real friendship with someone you're attracted to. Friendship where you share fears, dreams, insecurities, hopes, and still feel the pull. Friendship where you can sit on the couch, touching thighs, holding hands, leaning into each other without driving headfirst into sex. Friendship where physical connection exists but isn't running the show. Let's break it down this way, raw and real. A great relationship begins with emotional safety. The ability to say what's true inside without fear of being judged or dismissed. When you feel safe enough to fully be seen, attraction becomes deeper, stronger, and more meaningful. Next comes play. Couples who laugh together create a rhythm of connection that naturally pulls them closer. Play dissolves defenses, opens the heart, and makes chemistry feel organic instead of forced. Then comes non-sexual touch. Most people think touch means sex, but touch is an entire language. A warm hugs, legs brushing, cuddling without expectations, fingertips on the back of the neck. All these create closeness without crossing boundaries. This is where the magic happens, where desire grows without demanding anything. And let's not forget to talk about kissing. Kissing sits in that sacred middle ground between romantic and sexual. A kiss can be soft, slow, lingering, filled with curiosity instead of urgency. When you allow kissing without the expectation of sex, you create a container where desire can be expressed without pressure. It keeps the spark alive while still honoring the pace of emotional intimacy. A great kiss can say, "I want you," without forcing, "I need you right now." And finally, attraction. Attraction is allowing it to simmer, not explode, not dominate, just simmer. When you're building a friendship with someone you desire, You let the tension live in the room. You honor it, you enjoy it, but you don't treat sex like the goal. Because when friendship and attraction develop together slowly and intentionally, your connection becomes bulletproof. You build trust, emotional depth, sexual charge, and genuine companionship all at once. And that's not the friend zone. That's the doorway to the deepest, kindest love. Well, thanks for allowing me to share that with everybody. You always write beautiful things about true love. Thanks so much. Well, I've got a beloved that sparks that for me. Hey, folks. All right. Pamela wants to point out, Angela, he is extremely busy as a law practice, lives in another state, trying to retire. I'm fascinated how he navigates his life, 2 houses, 4 cars, and a planes. He doesn't sleep. Well, sounds like he's not even available for a relationship, Pamela. But hey, if that's your jam, go for it. Okay. He lives in another state. All right. Hey, Angela just wants to point out, if a man is busy, then if a man is busy, then he is probably interested and he hasn't found the time to connect with you. Send him a message to know send him a message to know if he wants a relationship or not. I agree. Oh, and Deb wants to point out, that's beautiful. Thanks so much. Hey, we're going to wrap up this video. Oh, by the way, if you want to connect with me, there's links below. If you found value in this, hit that like button. Please share this video. And as I said before, if you want to connect with me, there's links below to schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. Listen, I'm going to wrap up this video as I always do. First, I've given myself a big, gigantic Jonathan Barrick of self-love. I'm going to reach into the camera and give you a hug of love if that's okay. I'm going to ask you to turn to someone, a pet, teddy bear, a pillow, and give it or them a hug of love, because hugs are a great source of love. And let's face it, we could all use more love in our lives. I want to thank Annika and Pamela for the $20 and $5 super sticker. Thank you for the love. I want to thank Angela, Deb, Pamela, Melanie, everyone who commented. Big hugs. Wishing you all a super duper wonderful evening. Be well. Thanks. Bye-bye now.